Alright guys, back with another ranking. Today I'm going to rank my top 12 favorite spaceships in Star Wars. Before I get started, I want to go over my criteria. It's pretty much going to be comprised of four things. Number one, its fighting ability, how good it is in a fight, its weapons, stuff like that. Number two, its overall design, how cool it is, how much I like it, stuff like that. Number three, and this is a big one, can I live in the ship? A lot of these ships you can pretty much live in, almost like an RV, and a lot of these ships are pretty much just cockpit only. I tend to skew towards the ones that you can live in. And number four, pretty much just my gut, my connection to it, whether it be from a video game, from the movies. Some of these I'm just a little bit biased towards. This is my list, so here we go. These are my top 12. Coming in at number 12, the Imperial Transport, aka Palpatine's ship. This ship can be seen, obviously, in Return of the Jedi, in Revenge of the Sith when he's transporting Anakin's body, and pretty much all over the Star Wars universe, especially in video games. I always liked this ship. I always liked the design. This is kind of like the safe pick, the offensive line. This is the pick. That's kind of just, it's fast. It's pretty good size on the inside. It has decent weapons, but it's not my favorite ship, but it's good enough to make the ranking. Coming in at number 11, the X-Wing, more specifically Luke's X-Wing. Now, this is not my favorite ship, however, I had to include it out of respect. It obviously blew up the Death Star. It's in so many of the iconic scenes in Empire Strikes Back, and even in the newer sequels, which I don't like, but it's still in it. I played so many games with the X-Wing throughout so many games. I mean, Force Unleashed, Battlefront, and down the line, so I just had to include this one out of respect. Coming in at number 10, the TIE Fighter, more specifically Vader's TIE Fighter, or the Executor. I always liked this ship. I love that Vader had kind of like his own version. It always stuck out. Even that little switch always made it seem like kind of the big bad, the main bad guy. Probably, maybe my favorite sound in all the Star Wars universe, probably either this or the Seismic Charge. I just love the TIE Fighter sound. I always preferred the TIE Fighter to the X-Wings. I always thought they were cooler. However, like I said, a smaller ship, no hyperspace jumping, very short range, so that's why it only comes in at number 10. Coming in at number 9, the N1 Starfighter from Phantom Menace. I love this ship. I had one of those games. It was almost like a Tamagotchi kind of game I had growing up. It was like a handheld game of this. Of course, this would be brought back in Mando Season 3 as kind of a remodeled Starfighter, but I still like the original yellow design better. The sound especially, this made like a very specific cool sound that they actually have in the Battlefront 2 game, so I love playing with it. Of course, they have the scene with Anakin in it, which was okay, but I always just kind of loved this ship, the design of it. It almost looked a little bit almost like a motorcycle in space, but like I said, very, very small, space on the inside, not a very large ship. Also short range. Well, I guess in Mando he goes to hyperspace with it, but for the most part, short range ship, so that's why it's coming in a little bit low on the list. Coming in at number 8, the Razor Crest from Mando. Now, this isn't the best looking ship, however, it has a ton of capabilities. It's really a buzzsaw. Obviously, it gets blown to hell in Season 2, unfortunately, but it can hyperspace jump. He's got room for prisoners. He's got carbon freezing on it. So this is pretty one of the better ships in Star Wars. He can live in it. It's almost like a giant RV. It's got good weapons. It's tough. So this is pretty high up on the list. However, it's kind of ugly, which is why it's not near the top. Coming in at number 7, the Imperial Star Destroyer, more specifically Thrawn's Chimera, as it is called. One of the cooler ships in all of movies, really. It's the original ship that we see in the original Star Wars movie. This one is pretty cool, just the design of it. Obviously, it has the most room in terms of living, if you're, housing an army and whatnot, escape pods, ships coming out of it, the whole 9 yards. So this is obviously one of the better ships. Not really as cool, though, in terms of, like, big space battles, because it's obviously a gigantic ship. However, it's pretty much like a cruise ship in the sky that can fight, so I gotta put it pretty high up on the list. Coming in at number 6, Count Dooku Solar Sailor, one of the coolest ships in Star Wars. This is almost like a Rolls-Royce or a Ferrari of Star Wars. One of the most expensive ships in the Star Wars universe. I love how we only see pretty much Count Dooku as the only person with this ship. I wish they showed it more. I love this scene. He bitches out in the fight against Yoda in Attack of the Clones, but I love the way the ship just kind of opens up into like a golden parachute, and he just kind of has him in the front. And I love that it specifically shows a droid driving the ship. He doesn't drive his own ship, almost like having a Rolls Royce and a driver. So this ship is really, really cool. One of the more expensive ships. So I really, really love this one. Coming in at number 5, the Naboo Royal Starship, aka Padme's ship from The Phantom Menace. I had a really hard time not making this higher up on the list. This made a push for number 1, but overall I had to put it here. Really, really cool ship. It might be the best looking ship in all of Star Wars. It's almost a bigger version of the N1 Starfighter, but just an awesome ship. It looks good on the inside, it looks good on the outside. It kind of blends in the desert. It doesn't really stick out. Can hyperspace jump and all that. So just top to bottom, really, really good ship, which is why I made my top 5. Number 4, Luthen's Hallcraft from Andor. One of the coolest ships in all of Star Wars. Perfect size. It's like a mid-sized ship. One of the best scenes. If you haven't seen Andor, go watch it. Definitely my favorite scene in the show. This ship does things that no other I've never seen before in any ship in Star Wars. It has the part where it releases almost like shrapnel that breaks the tractor beam of the opposing ship. It has pretty much it has almost like a lightsaber laser beam. It does like a 360 and destroy ships. Hyperspeed jumping. So this ship is really, really top to bottom one of the best in Star Wars, and I think the coolest part of that show. Coming in at number 3, the Millennium Falcon. Obviously it speaks for itself, the OG of the movies, but there are 2 ships I had to put higher than this. The best part of the ship is probably just the space on the inside to hang out. It has the chess table. It has the multiple, turrets so you can defend yourself. Obviously, it's one of the fastest ships in the galaxy, so that's good. But overall, yeah, I mean, it has to be in the top 3 of any list. It really has no weaknesses. It's a little bit clunky when you're flying in video games. Not the best in video games, but in the movies, and obviously overall, still one of the better ships. Number 2, the Ghost from Rebels. One of the coolest ships in Star Wars, and one of the best in fighting. Similar to the Hallcraft, similar to the Millennium Falcon, although I think a little bit better. One of the coolest part, it has the Phantom attached to it, which is like a little ship that can kind of branch out and do its own thing, which is obviously very useful in weapons. I kind of see it almost as a better version of the Millennium Falcon. I almost put the Hallcraft here, although because I've spent more time with this ship in Rebels, I gave this one the slight nod. Has escape pods, has everything, so I gave that one the nod. Very, very cool ship, so it's number 2 on my list. At number 1, my overall favorite ship in Star Wars, the Slave One. Although now it's called the Fire Spray, I still think it's called the Slave One, aka Jango Fett's ship, now Boba Fett's ship. I just think top to bottom the best ship in Star Wars. The seismic charge is so cool, and also probably one of the best weapons. It has weapons in the front, it has weapons in the back. It's just the most lethal ship. It's a bounty hunter ship. The scenes that we get from it, both in the original movie, but also in the prequels. Boba Fett's one of my most favorite characters, so obviously I love this ship. But I'll just think top to bottom when you're talking about a ship that's really survived from so many years in both in real life and in the Star Wars universe. It's really iconic. Loading Han Solo on there, the only ship to take Han Solo prisoner is this ship. There's a comic book / movie to be made about transporting Han Solo and people attacking the Slave One and him fighting him off. So that is my list of favorite Star Wars ships. The Slave One comes in at number 1. Although every one in the top 5 I consider for number 1 for different reasons. The Naboo Royal ship, the Millennium Falcon, the Hallcraft, and the Ghost all have good reasons. I wouldn't have, but any of those I think should be number 1. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I don't expect people to agree with everything, but those are my top 12. I don't think I missed any. I tried to include everything. There might be a few that I missed, but overall I think I included everything. The Death Star I don't think counts, or maybe that would be number 1. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.